let's talk about the word skill. Now, skill is something that we are teaching our kids and they're supposed to master it, right? So let's take a simple example to understand how the skill is mastered, how it actually becomes a skill. For example, if somebody is going to fry an egg for the first time, they might struggle to fry an egg. They might even struggle to even crack the egg without creating a lot of mess. So it's still not a skill for them. They might have to go through the same process at least 5 to 6 times for them to actually master that skill. Okay, so we really need to think of it in a simplified way, that when we are teaching skills, we are not teaching that skill to our learners for just that one time or just that one lesson or temporary short learning session. No, it's not a one-time thing. If you are teaching something for just one time, you can't actually call it a skill. Even if some of your learners, even if your advanced learners, okay, they are performing very well on it, but still you still can't call it a skill. Sometimes we really try to skip a lot of things. We really try to jump ahead. Our intention might be to cover the syllabus. Our intention might be to challenge kids. We want to do something new. We want our lesson to have that wow factor. So I want to go and try something new. I want to add a lot of Kahoot, a lot of games. But in this process, in this teacher-centered way of thinking, trying to make our own lesson wow, we really forget that the skill we were supposed to teach our kids, so they would master it and then they would apply it next time in a more effective way. So that skill only really becomes a skill when it's taught and practiced several times. Only then it really becomes a tangible skill. Wherever you are working, wherever you are teaching, whatever grade you are, whatever kind of standards you are following, make sure that the skill that you are teaching, it really does become a skill after you having taught it in several different ways, on several different texts, on several different lessons. Okay, in the beginning you might use simpler text, in the beginning you might use simpler strategies or a bit simpler materials, but then you keep on making it a bit more challenging, a bit more tough, a bit more complicated, and the text to be a bit more longer, but you are still practicing the same skill that your kids are supposed to have really mastered towards the end of academic year. Because the goal of every standard in any curriculum that we are working in, the goal of this of us really following the standards is that by the end of the academic year, our students have to be really be at a point where they have mastered that skill, which means we have to consistently keep on teaching that same skill in a manner where we are repeating it, like continuous repetition through different materials, through different texts, through different contexts, in different contexts. So you might be teaching, let's say, main idea. If you taught main idea only one time and you didn't follow up on that skill, you didn't teach it again with let's say a little bit of gap, because you also need gap where you will be practicing other skills, other required skills, let's say in grammar, in writing. So there will be a gap, but then again you come back to that skill and you have to teach that skill again. So with those small gaps, you have to keep on returning back to that same skill that you are targeting, that same skill that you are focusing on, because you really want to help your learners to really master that skill. If you are not consistently practicing that same skill with repetition, it's not, you can't call it a skill. It's not a skill. It's just a one-time lesson. I have seen it actually happening several times, that sometimes when the teachers are new, or sometimes when the teachers, they don't have expertise in the subject and they're even new to the subject, so they might think that, oh, we have covered it, oh, we have taught this skill, so we don't need to teach it again because we did it, so we don't need to do it the next week, we don't need to come back to this skill. No, that's the biggest mistake, and this mistake also connects to why our kids also start having problems in writing as well. Because when all these skills are connected, all the skills that, especially in ELA, in English, Whatever skills we are teaching, all the skills are actually connected in reading, and all of them are connected in writing as well. So if we are not teaching the skills in repetition, we are not helping them to practice it again and again and again, and bringing them to the point where it becomes tangible, it really becomes a skill, then they cannot apply that skill even in reading or even in writing. Unless a skill is practiced again and again, it's just a practice, it's just a one-time practice. So if you are consistently practicing it over a certain period of time, it will only then become a real skill. So for example, they might be trying to learn how to figure out main ideas. So the skill is the same, but every time you practice it, you are going to change all the resources that you are using with them. You are going to change any text that you are using with them. Of course, when the text changes, all activities, all the tasks along with the text will change. So every time they will be applying that skill on the tasks, it will be different. The context will be different. The text will be different. The tasks will be different, but the skill will be the same, and that's how the skill actually becomes a skill. When it's practiced on different materials, it's practiced in different kinds of contexts. If you don't teach them the skill in this way, then it's just a practice. One week you're doing a different skill, next week you're doing a different skill. So it's not a skill. It will be just a one-time practice. So I hope it would really help you to understand how to turn a practice into a tangible skill. Thank you so much.